Some might say this is not a happy memory, but he would object that it is not the happiness of a memory that he is looking for. It is the memory itself, the taste and touch of it, and the proof it brings of himself. He reaches forward again in an attempt to attract the pilot's attention. "Down soon," he manages. Another thumbs up from the pilot, and a turn deeper into that mass of sky that seems with the sea, where everything is unmanageably large and wonderful. Everything is excessive, he thinks. He consoles himself with confining thoughts of the prison, its 4 T-shaped wings and cramped cells. They sail on. If he had more choice, he would panic. As it is, where the engine's roar deafens him and the wind whips his limbs neatly into his body, he finds himself compressed into an involuntary composure, pinned back and down into his thoughts. At this moment, there is just the image of Henry running manically across the field after that plane. The memory is vivid and isolated as a night landscape brought up sharply by a bolt of lightning. And then a converse image of Henry some time later, after a period in hospital and drugs that made his hair fall out, tying on the apron Helen had once bought him and beginning a long, sleepy bout of baking. His specialities were Hamantaschen and almond cakes from his grandmother's handwritten Jewish cookery book. The house smelt of hot sugar for weeks. There is something about this utter deflation of his son that irks him more deeply than any other run of events, so that he can see him in ever-decreasing magnitudes, like an object receding. The prison comes briefly into view again over the edge of the plain, then disappears. He closes his eyes. Some time ago, after the madness, Henry broke into 3 houses along his own street in the middle of the day, trying to find either alcohol or money to spend on alcohol, or something to sell to make money to spend on alcohol. It was such an inept attempt at crime. In one of the houses the occupiers were sitting having lunch, that Henry was caught and sentenced to community service, which he didn't do because he was always too drunk to turn up. He told the courts that he was likely to repeat his crime, not because he thought it was the right thing to do, but because he liked drinking, and drink made him irresponsible. So then he was sentenced to prison and enforced sobriety. Henry accepted this with good grace, and what looked almost like relief. Yes, he remembers the expression on his son's face. A short smile, a heavenward look, as if to Helen, and then a comment, "My dad built that prison. It'll be just like going home." The crime was trivial, hapless and alcoholic, the downward spiral of it mapped loosely in his son's appearance. All his life, Henry had been blessed with a plume of hair around his face, a plump but not fat figure, soft mollusk features, a gentle height like that of a large leaf-munching animal, long eyelashes. He was pretty, his mother often said, but now he is hairless, thin. His eyes are still dark and bright, and he is still attractive if only one can get past that luckless look. But there it is. Lucklessness is a kind of leprosy. You can't get past it. Perhaps he does not want to see his son after all. The way the plane hangs and lolls on the air, unanchored, only seems to shake the giddied mind more, jumbling 2 names in his thoughts. Henry, Helen, Helen, Henry. Similar names. He sometimes confuses them. What if he one day forgets them completely? Then what? Below them a bird flies, 2 or 3 birds. Far below that, cars pass lazily along a road. The precariousness of his position is not lost on him, and the fear will not shake. He forces his mind down into the steep cleft of memory that always provides such comfort. Him and Helen sailing along the beautiful flow of an American road on their honeymoon. A brown car, 1 shallow cloud in a deep sky. But then, very crudely and inexpertly, the footage cuts to what he recognizes as the beginning of a cruel montage of his wife's life, selected for tantamount pain and anguish. At first she appears in a languid sort of flash, persisting long enough to make the point without allowing the point to be explored. She is slumped at the kitchen table. It is that very particular slump, strange with silence,